Hello, good people. Welcome back to my channel. For those who are new here, my name is Candace and I am a revenue manager, and I just show my day-to-day work life and the things that I go through in my role that I've been in for a year and a half. And you'll see my struggles, the ups, the downs, the tears, me working through processes and really explaining what I do in detail to help others who are looking into this field in revenue cycle or health information management, healthcare administration, this type of work. But today I want to take a different turn and talk about the things that I am seeing as an adjunct faculty. So in addition to my main job as a revenue manager, I am also an adjunct faculty at two schools. One is a community college, and I have taught various health information management courses. And then the second one is a bachelor's degree program, and the students in that class are either in an HIM program or they're in a healthcare administration program. And with this school, this is my first time teaching at a school for a four-year degree program, so I'm really excited and happy about that. The class that I am teaching is healthcare reimbursement, but this class I have taught over and over again. They keep assigning this class to me, and I've always gotten great feedback from my team leads who evaluate me each term. So hopefully in the future I get the chance to teach other courses at that school and just gain more experience. So today the topic that I want to talk about is plagiarism. For some reason, at least in my courses, plagiarism is at an all-time high, okay? Students are blatantly taking other students' work and turning it in as their own. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, what I see, how we see it, because we see you, okay? We can see you cheating, okay? So let's get into all of that. First things first, I have my notes here so we can get right into it. What is plagiarism? Plagiarism is the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as one's own work. It's cheating. It's stealing, okay? That's what you're doing. When you plagiarize, you are cheating and you are violating the academic integrity policy that's at your school, okay? So we want to prevent that, okay? Now, what's interesting is the sources that students are using, I've never heard of before. So there's Course Hero, never heard of that a day in my life until I started teaching and we started using the system to check for plagiarism and check the similarity index to other papers. So there's Course Hero, and then there is a computer program called Quillbot, Quillbot. Now, an academic advisor actually alerted me to this because this program alters another student's work that's found online. And so this can result in a considerable understatement of the similarity index. So this program, it'll change the wording, add some synonyms and things like that. And it really jeopardizes the integrity of the paper, okay? Now, how do we see it? We see it because you use a tool called Turnitin. Now, other schools may use another system and they may have another way of tracking the similarity index for papers, but in my experience as a student, I use Turnitin, and then as an instructor, we use Turnitin and we can see you. Okay, just remember that. So as a student, I remember using Turnitin.com, and I would submit my paper through there and it would give me a similarity index of a percentage of what appears to be similar in another paper that has been turned in. So with that said, depending on how it's set up, and I'm not 100% sure, I believe once you turn that in and you see your percentage score, you can go back and fix your papers, okay? What I am seeing, students are still turning it in. In my courses, they have the option to view their score, make changes, and then turn it in. And they're still not doing it. So what is Turnitin.com? Turnitin is a website or tool that makes sure that you uphold the academic integrity of your work, okay? So it ensures original work from students, and addresses even the most sophisticated potential misconduct. So that's what the tool is used for us and for you, okay? So it gives us the tools, the instructors, the tools to streamline manual grading processes so that we can spend more time teaching, because turning in, it really does allow the teachers to go through the work and make sure, more importantly, that you understand the course concept. If you don't understand the course concepts and you feel forced to go to other resources and go to other websites such as coursehero.com and copy students' work, even paraphrasing it to where you think it's not copied, then that lets the instructor know that you may need some help in your course, okay? So with that said, what can we do to help you make sure that you are not making this mistake and are not jeopardizing your work? Because plagiarizing your work really jeopardizes your future. You can end up failing the class because of plagiarism. It goes on your record because as instructors, we have to report that to the academic advisor, to the school, to the head of the program, whoever we need to report that to. There's a policy that you need to follow as students, and there's a policy that we have to follow as instructors should we come across this situation, okay? So here are some things to think about. Let's start with paraphrasing, okay? You want to read the portion of the text that you want to paraphrase. Make sure you understand. Make sure you understand the course concepts, the materials, the websites. Make sure you understand it so that you're not copying things word for word throughout your entire paper. After you've read the text, make notes of what you read without using the author's words. You want to make sure that you use your own words, okay? Use only your notes. Write all the important ideas that you understand and make sure you write it in your own words, okay? Don't just take a paragraph and then change a couple of words, throw in some synonyms in there to make it appear like your own work, because again, we see you, okay? So you also want to always cite your sources using one style consistently, okay? Now, I have students who turn in papers and in their references, I'll see a retrieved date that is not current. So for example, in MLA format or APA format, when you use a website, if you use the, I know website easybib.com, I think it is, you can put in all the information and ask you the date. And usually in the references, it'll say retrieved from this date. It's August, July. So last month, a student turned in a paper, and in the retrieved from dates in the reference, it had May 2019. Ma'am, sir, it is July 2022. Okay? You didn't work on this paper in 2019. So mistakes like that, I mean, when I say blatant, it's blatant plagiarism, okay? So you want to make sure that you're always citing your sources, use consistent formatting, and then make sure you understand what your teacher wants you to use as far as the MLA or APA format, okay? There's also a Chicago style. I'm not familiar with the Chicago style, and as it relates to the MLA format, I don't know how popular that is anymore. When I was in school, we always used APA format. Also, as it relates to citing sources, you want to make sure you are citing the correct information and the correct source from which you got your information from. And make sure you are using scholarly resources, okay? Don't quote Wikipedia. That's not a scholarly research. Anyone can contribute to that. Wikipedia, that's probably if we Google something that's going on in the world, Google a person, a topic, we tend to go to Wikipedia. I go to Wikipedia all the time, but I know that it's not accurate. You know, if I want to know what's going on with monkeypox, what is monkeypox? What is COVID? Just in general. We might Google what that is, and it may take us directly to a Wikipedia page. And they have good information, but remember, other people are also contributing to that page, and it may not be accurate. When you're citing your sources, use both in-text citations and the complete reference on your references page. So again, with the formatting, it's really important that you understand if you need to use MLA format or APA format. Have a correct title page, format your paragraphs accordingly to the APA format or MLA format, Chicago style, and have a references page or reference page, and make sure it is accurate. Okay, use quotation marks for direct quotes. Paraphrase properly by putting ideas into your own words, and then cite your source. So it's not going to be a direct quote, and if you paraphrase it, just put where your source is from. Avoid changing only a couple of words. Don't just throw in some synonyms. Make sure you understand the work. If you're reading a sentence from a text or reading a paragraph from a text, think about it, make sure you comprehend it, and then put it in your own words. Try not to paraphrase, but if you do, remember to cite your source. Okay. Avoid using the same sentence structure as the source. Present ideas in your own words and support your research. Okay. Make sure that when you are writing your papers, especially research papers, you're going to have sources in there. You're going to find other sources to substantiate your ideas. You know, you're going to cite things, but make sure you do it correctly. Okay. Again, your paper should mostly be in your own work with your own ideas supported from other sources. Most importantly, turn in your own paper. Do not turn in someone else's paper. We see you when you do that. Okay. Turn in a paper that you created for that class. Do not turn in a paper from another course, change a few things, and then submit it again, because we can see that. Okay. And keep thorough notes while you're doing your research, while you're writing your papers. Keep your citations. Just make sure you document everything. It's just like a job. You want to document everything to CYA, okay? To cover your butt. So document everything and just make sure everything is accurate, okay? So how can we see that you are plagiarizing, cheating, stealing other people's work, okay? So when you turn in a paper, to turn it in through that tool, it will come to us, the instructors, and we can see the percentage. So say your paper has 54% of a similarity index to another paper. When we go in to turn it in, it highlights those sections for us, so we can clearly see the words, sentences, paragraphs, references, whatever. We can clearly see what is plagiarized, and we can pull up the original paper. And I have seen several times where there are papers from 2019, 2020, 21, a few months ago, especially with me teaching this course and at this school. Once you turn it into that tool, turnitin.com, I'm not 100% sure on this, but what I'm guessing is that any school who uses this tool and students submit their papers in is locked into that database. Now, I have come across times where I can't see where the paper was submitted, but I can see the content of the paper. So I can pull up a side-by-side comparison. I can download the original source, take your paper and compare it and see what was changed, what was not changed. And if I see that it's a lot of similarities, then I email the student. I say, hey, can you tell me a little bit about your process on how you researched your paper or wrote this paper? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, I did this on my own. And I'll let them know that, your paper is violating the academic integrity policy for this institution. I'll give you the chance to rewrite the paper, or, I'm going to have to report it to your academic advisor, or whatever the next step is, going up to the team lead or the head of the chair. Depends on each school's process. My process is I have to submit the academic integrity concern to the academic advisors. Then they do a review, and each time I've done that, they show that it has been plagiarized and that it's on your record. So again, when you plagiarize, you are jeopardizing your future in that class. You're jeopardizing your success that's going to follow you throughout your school journey. Okay. And also, if you think about it, if you're cheating your way through class through concepts that you need in the real world. So for example, if I took coding, for example. That might not be the best example, but if I took coding and I have a test and I'm taking it online, and instead of actually coding the diagnoses, I'm looking online and just getting the codes from there, then what have you really learned? And when you get into the real world, how are you going to apply those concepts? Same thing with healthcare reimbursement. If I do not understand the difference between the payer mix and the HIM department, the billing department, but then I go out to the real world and apply for those types of jobs, I really don't know what I'm doing, and I have finagled my way through school. So you don't want to do that. I have had instances where a student has plagiarized. I gave them the opportunity to redo their paper, and all they did was change a couple more words. The percentage was down a little bit, but I had to turn that in because now you've had 2 chances to submit your own work and you still have not done it. I have seen the highest percentage to be 87%. That's very, very high. That means you have changed a minimal amount of words within your paper. Now, there are some times where the percentage may be high because if students are taking an entire, if I have some students that will take the topics. So for example, explain how the payer mix affects the reimbursement system, ? They'll put that into the paper. Now, what you should do is use a section header. That's the proper way for APA format. But they'll post the entire topic or section of the rubric and put it in their paper. And if you have multiple students doing that, then it's going to read that and make your percentage go higher. So when I see that, I just ignore that and I continue grading the rest of the paper. I would say that a percentage that you would want to stay under is 25%. 30 is pushing it. I don't know what the standard percentage should be for turning in, but obviously the lower the better, okay? If I see a percentage above 30% or so, that's when I'll look to see, okay, what exactly was plagiarized? Does the student understand the course concepts? And I follow up that way. But if it's really no concern, then I won't address it, because also references could make your percentage higher as well. If you have 20 students in a class, they're all using the same book, they're all using the same websites, well, the turn it in score is going off of your entire paper. So it's saying, okay, this many students use these references, is going to be a match. So things like that we don't have to worry about. It's the content of the paper, of the topics that you need to research and write about, that you want to make sure that you are using your own words, okay? So I'm going to insert some examples of where we can see that the plagiarism occurs from the student who submitted the paper versus the original source. And I'll talk a little bit through that. So here we have a paper that was submitted this past term in June 2022, and I'm scrolling through the references, and as you can see, there is a retrieved by date of January 23rd, 2022. This clip here is showing where I can see the source at 58%. On the right hand side, it was submitted to the school, and now I'm downloading that original paper. Here I can see everything that's highlighted in red at the 85%, and I can see that 83% of it was submitted to a school called Southern New Hampshire, and everything that is highlighted has been plagiarized, and this indicates to me that this student took a copy of a paper that was submitted to this school and then submitted it as her own. As I continue to scroll, as you can see, there is not much change in the context of the paper. And then when I get down to the references, here is where you can see that retrieved by date of January 2022. I could have went through and compared the submitted paper to the original, but this is a clear copy. So the main thing is you want to make sure you are using your own words. Again, I've said that repeatedly throughout this video. Also, if you are struggling and you find the need to go to a website like Course Hero, and I'm sure there are several others that I am not aware of, but we're going to see it. talk to your instructor. Your instructor should be there to help you succeed, like I am there to help my students succeed. And if I see that they're not understanding the content throughout the discussion forums or the papers, they feel the need to go to another paper to get ideas from, we want to make sure that those ideas are yours and that you understand it, so that you can be successful in this class and the classes going forward, and eventually in your career as well. So those are some of the tips that I have for plagiarizing, knowing all about turnitin.com. Do not use a computer program to help rewrite your paper. Don't use Course Hero and steal others' work from there. It's just not fair. It's not right. Again, you're jeopardizing yourself and you're violating the academic integrity policy of that school. So you want to keep that in mind, okay? So with all that said, thank you for watching. Use your own work, because remember, we can see you, okay? And if you have any other ideas or topics that you want me to touch on from the aspect of me being an adjunct faculty, teaching HIM courses and healthcare reimbursement, healthcare administration courses, feel free to drop a comment below and I'll make sure I touch on that topic for you. Until next time.